So, Chris, just to get things rolling, to start things off, for those who might not know who Catie's Bubbles is, maybe it's a new wet shaver, how did you get started? And also, how did you come up with the name for your brand?
I'm a father. I've got a son, Christopher, and a daughter, Catie. My son is autistic. When he was diagnosed at the age of 2, everything in our world just started revolving around him because of the fact that he needed the attention. He needed to get back up to speed because there was so many developmental delays at that point in his life. So Catie started feeling left out. At that point, I had a small soap making hobby. Anybody who's ever had a hobby knows that they start getting expensive, and you've got to find a way to get the hobby to feed itself. Well, to do that legally, I had to come up with a company name, registered with the state of New Jersey, and to make Catie feel a little less left out on everything, I named it after her. And at that point, I was just working in bar soaps and a couple simple little things, selling at a local flea market. And as things progressed along, I developed a shaving soap recipe, and then life threw me a curveball, and the job I had working for Sears for the previous decade disappeared. So I had to make a decision of, am I going to go find somewhere else to work, or am I going to try to be my own boss and actually make something out of this? And here we are, a little over 8 years after I launched online with the shaving soap side of things. And I still only call one person my boss, and thankfully she's sleeping in the other room right now.
You're a huge resource to the wet shaving community as far as soap making goes, but also as a perfumer, someone who makes fragrance. I'm just wondering, like, as you developed a shave soap formula, what does that fragrancing journey, how's that, is it parallel, or did it come a little bit later on?
Well, I've always enjoyed scents. I fell in love with the original Paco Rabanne Pour Homme back in the 90s. And I've had a variety of different scents throughout the years since then. So there was an interest, but I never knew how to take it to the step of actually making my own. Any soap maker that tells you out of the gate that they're making their own scents, unless it's a 2 or 3 essential oil blend, is lying their pants off. Because nobody steps out the door and knows how to balance and blend 20 to 30 aroma chemicals together to make something that smells anything other than mud. It takes a lot of trial and error, a lot of lost money, a lot of stuff going in the garbage. But there's tons of resources out there between different blog sites, the DIY forum on Base Notes. There's a couple of different Facebook groups.
What was the first scent that you wanted to make once you kind of had enough, the basics down?
The first scent that was all me is actually still in production. Sunrise. It's a very simple blend. It's Lucia Cuvée oil, peppermint oil, and tea tree. Our buddy, Mr. Irish from Talbot Shaving, likes to say, it's a punch in the face to wake you up in the morning. It's got that sharp hit of the lemony Lucia, and that little bit of cooling from the peppermint. It literally does just that. It opens up the nose, and it gives you a little bit of a cool slap on the cheek to say, good morning, it's time to get going. The next scent that I can actually say was a little bit more adventurous was Barnegat Bay. My take on bay rum, it's a little different than most people go for. I took some liberties because we all know I can't do anything normal. The traditional bay rum formula is the West Indies Bay, not to be confused with the Bay Laurel, which is great if you're making a stew, but it's not really has any place in perfumery. Along with that, just as I said, the traditional formula, you've got allspice, you've got clove bud, that's where I took a left turn. I decided I didn't want to use clove bud. I actually went clove leaf oil because it's not quite as punchy. It's a little bit more subdued, a little bit more mellow. I mixed that with some lime and orange and some patchouli. The patchouli is the other real curveball in there because most bay rums don't have patchouli. But they generally have some type of citrus, because sailors would wear this to cover up how much they stank, and they would drink it as well when they got bored.